Hi, my name is Diony, and I'm making this video as part of my BK21 Fellowship with Yonsei University. Today, I wanted to offer you an interpretation of Odysseus Elytis' poem, Age of Glaucous Memory. In English, it sounds a little rough, but in Greek, it's Υλικία της γλαυκής θύμησης. It was published as part of its collection, Orientations, Προσανατολισμοί, in 1939. Elytis not only holds light to Hellenic culture, but he is recognized globally as a poet who brought change and color to contemporary poetry, so much so that in 1979 he was rewarded the Nobel Prize of Literature. I wanted to talk about Elytis because I feel like he serves as an example of how literature, especially poetry, is supposed to touch and connect with the everyday person. And I don't know, I feel like in its simplicity, it carries a lot of profound meaning, and Elytis does exactly that. This is also why I'm approaching you from a somewhat casual environment to replicate that connection between poetry and people. I feel like it should be talked about in an approachable way and in an experiential way. So I offer you my reading of the poem, Age of Glaucous Memory. I hope you enjoy it. Olive groves and vineyards up to the sea, and farther off red fishing boats up to memory. August golden husks in a noon sleep, with shells or seaweed, and that ship freshly let out, green, that in the bay water's peace still reads, God has plenty. The years went by as leaves or pebbles. I remember those kids, the sailors who left coloring their sails like their heart. They sang the horizon's four corners. They had north winds painted in their chests. What was I seeking when you arrived, painted by the sunrise, with the sea's age in your eyes, and with the sun's health in your body? What was I seeking, deep in sea caves and spacious dreams, where the wind unknown and glaucous foamed its feelings, engraving its sea emblem on my chest? With sand on my fingers, I closed my fingers. With sand in my eyes, I clenched my fingers. It was pain. I remember it was April when I first felt your human weight, your human body, clay and sin, as on our first day on earth. It was the Amaryllis festival, but I remember you were in pain. It was a deep bite on the lips, a deep finger scratch on the skin where time is forever engraved. I left you then, and a buzzing breeze lifted the white houses, the white emotions freshly washed up to the sky that shone with a smile. Now I'll have beside me a jug of immortal water. I'll have a form of the wind's freedom shaking, and those hands of yours where Eros shall be tormented, and that shell of yours wherein the Aegean shall echo. Whilst the poem is most commonly read as a remembrance of summer youth, a recounting of Grecian shores and ports filled with virility and passions, memories of play and love, I feel that if we read a little closer, we'll find more than just the passing of time. I would like to argue that Elytis' poem captures the sweet duality of human life, the dance between finding meaning in our human condition, but pain in our physicality. Through surrealist imagery and free form, he brings meaning to simple Hellenic scenes, giving value not only to the memory of youth, but to the experience of living as a whole. However, as is the case for most romantics, the practice of finding meaning leads also to the recognition of our limitations. What creates meaning and what ends meaning, or at least limits it, our physical, finite, material quality of being human. But it's this very quality that also allows us to experience life in all its beauty, color, light, and movement. I feel like Elytis uses the storytelling form of remembering to narrate exactly this, finding meaning, recognizing limitations, letting go, and balancing both. The first three verses detail the beauty and optimism of being young. August golden husks, ships freshly let out, sailors coloring their sails like their heart. His use of language creates scenes with light, color, and energy, offering sentiments of vitality and promise. Likewise, he laces the text with gentle kinesthetic imagery. The wind foamed its feelings, north winds painted in sailors' chests, accentuating how very alive the poem reads and discreetly propelling the theme of life. However, the fourth verse introduces our first encounter with physicality, pain. An unknown you bears weight and sin. They bite and scratch, reminding the reader that time is engraved on their skin. Whilst others read you as a lover, and the verse is the speaker remembering his first time making love, I would like to believe that there's more to the story, that you is a personification of the human condition. And our speaker is recalling the first time they realized their limits of their physicality. When I first felt your human weight, your human body, clay and sin. It's our material composition. I remember you were in pain. This personified humanness finds pain in the recognition of their mortality. It feels wounds in its skin, skin being tangibility. And it's reminded of time, time being the only characteristic of being alive that truly encases us in our body and traps us in physicality. Despite the negativity, though, the fourth verse ends with release. I left you then. Perhaps they're letting go of physicality, or at least the negativity first associated with our material existence. Because the following verses 5 and 6 detail the feeling of elation, freedom, and immortality, no longer pained by their material cast, but rather empowered. They can return to the beauty and meaning of life. The physicality of your hands allow you to experience the pleasure and torment of love, whereas the casing of the island's shell carries the lively echo of the Aegean. Our physicality may mark the finitude of being human, but it is also the means through which we experience the meaning and value of being alive. And that is infinite, arguably immortal. I would also like to take a moment to draw attention to the use of nature and color, which promotes the relationship between human meaning and physicality. Elytis uses colorful nature to embody life, and tactile interactions to accentuate physicality. Nature's golden, green, white, and glaucous. Glaucous, or glavkos, or glavkis, being a specific blue-green color caught in the sea that glints and shines in the light. It symbolizes the sense of positivity and liveliness. And then you have white. White being innocence and purity, but purity in the Greek sense, which has little to do with morality and naivety, and more to do with authenticity and truth. True, unfiltered, white emotions. Initially, even the personification of the human condition is beautiful. Sees age in your eyes, sun's health in your body. It is only momentarily that the reader feels tactile discomfort, with sand in my eyes and clenched fingertips. Our interactions with nature and the human condition remain overwhelmingly positive. And although our speaker has aged and matured to a point that he looks back at youth and the Pedopula kids playing on boats, he remembers life as a sweet glint in blue and green waters. Thank you.